Cucumbers are powerful for seniors. At first glance, cucumbers might seem like just another ordinary vegetable. They're cheap, easy to find, and don't require much preparation. But after working with many older adults and seeing my own grandparents navigate aging, I've come to believe that cucumbers are one of the most underrated health boosters, especially for people over 60. Let me be honest, I never used to think much about cucumbers. I always saw them as garnish, something you throw into a salad for a little crunch or put on your sandwich to make it look fresher. But the more I learned about senior health, the more I realized that cucumbers have quiet, powerful benefits that are tailor-made for aging bodies. One of the biggest challenges seniors face is maintaining energy and independence. A lot of people over 60 struggle with fatigue, joint pain, high blood pressure, and digestion issues. These problems can start small but slowly chip away at quality of life. I've seen seniors who used to be active and social slowly pull back from the things they love, not because they wanted to, but because their bodies started to feel like they were working against them. That's where cucumbers come in. They're not a miracle cure, but they're surprisingly effective at supporting three major areas of senior health: hydration, joint flexibility, and heart function. When I learned that cucumbers are made up of 96% water, it blew my mind. Seniors are often dehydrated and don't even realize it. As we age, the body's ability to signal thirst decreases. So even if someone doesn't feel thirsty, they might already be running low on fluids. And chronic dehydration can cause everything from fatigue and confusion to dizziness and increased fall risk. Adding cucumbers to meals is such a simple fix, and I've seen firsthand how that small change can have a big ripple effect. One of my neighbors, a 68-year-old retired teacher, told me she started eating cucumbers daily and noticed she felt less tired in the afternoon. It's these small wins that add up to a better quality of life. Another thing I admire about cucumbers is their silica content. Silica helps maintain strong, flexible joints, something that becomes more valuable with every birthday. When people complain about stiff knees or aching hands, they rarely think diet could help. But cucumbers, along with a few other silica-rich foods, might offer natural relief over time. I'm not saying cucumbers replace medicine, but I do believe in the power of prevention and support through nutrition. And perhaps my favorite part: cucumbers are just easy. No cooking, no fuss. For older adults who may have limited energy, arthritis, or vision issues, cucumbers are accessible. You can slice them and eat them raw, done. That kind of convenience matters when you're trying to eat healthy consistently. In my opinion, every senior should consider making cucumbers a regular part of the diet. They're inexpensive, refreshing, and surprisingly powerful. Sometimes the simplest things make the biggest difference, and cucumbers are a perfect example of that. Cucumbers help prevent dehydration in seniors. One of the most surprising things I've learned over the years, both from personal experience and from watching elderly family members, is how common dehydration is among seniors. It's one of those invisible health problems that often gets overlooked until it causes something serious, like dizziness, confusion, or even a fall. That's why I believe adding cucumbers to your daily meals can be a game changer, especially after the age of 60. As we age, our body's ability to detect thirst naturally decreases. This means that many older adults simply don't feel thirsty even when their bodies are already lacking water. My grandmother used to insist she was drinking enough just because she had 1 glass of water with her pills every morning, but she was often tired, had dry skin, and sometimes even felt lightheaded. It wasn't until a nurse explained that those were signs of mild dehydration that we started to pay closer attention. Cucumbers offer a very practical solution. They're made up of about 96% water, which makes them one of the most hydrating foods you can eat. The best part, you don't need to drink an extra glass of water, you just snack on a few cucumber slices, and you're already giving your body a hydration boost. That's a major win for seniors who may not enjoy drinking plain water or who forget to stay hydrated throughout the day. What I personally love about cucumbers is that they hydrate without any sugar, caffeine, or artificial ingredients. Many older adults turn to tea, coffee, or juice, thinking they're staying hydrated, but those drinks either have diuretic effects or too much sugar. I've seen seniors develop blood sugar spikes or end up more dehydrated after relying on sugary drinks. With cucumbers, you get pure hydration, plus vitamins and minerals, with no downside. Another point that hits home for me is how dehydration affects cognitive function. I once volunteered at a senior care center where a lot of the residents would have foggy days where they were unusually forgetful or had trouble concentrating. The staff would often check their fluid intake first, and many times, just getting them to eat more hydrating foods like cucumbers helped bring clarity back within hours. That's something I'll never forget. Cucumbers are also very easy on the digestive system, which is an added bonus. They're gentle, refreshing, and light, perfect for those who might have sensitive stomachs or struggle with heavier foods. I often suggest to my older friends and family that they keep a small plate of cucumber slices in the fridge. It's convenient, and the coolness is especially satisfying during warmer months. In my view, cucumbers should be a daily habit for anyone over 60, not just for the hydration, but because staying hydrated supports every part of your body, from your heart to your brain to your joints. It's such a simple addition, yet it can make a huge difference in how you feel and function. We often underestimate the power of the basics, but cucumbers prove that sometimes the smallest changes are the most powerful. Cucumbers can support weight management after 60. As someone who's watched older family members struggle with weight gain and all the health issues that come with it, like joint pain, diabetes, and heart problems, I've come to appreciate the role that simple, healthy foods play in staying fit after 60. One of the foods that stands out the most to me is the humble cucumber. It might seem basic or even boring at first glance, but cucumbers are surprisingly helpful when it comes to managing weight, especially in your later years. After 60, your metabolism naturally slows down. I've seen my father, who was slim all his life, suddenly start gaining weight even though he wasn't eating much more than before. He also found it harder to lose weight despite walking regularly. This is common for many older adults. The body burns fewer calories, but the appetite doesn't always adjust. That's where cucumbers come in. They allow you to eat more volume with fewer calories. Cucumbers are extremely low in calories, about 15 calories per cup, but they're high in water and fiber, which help you feel full. I've personally found that when I eat a bowl of cucumber slices before a meal, I tend to eat less overall. It's almost like a natural appetite suppressant, without any side effects. For seniors who want to manage their weight without going on strict diets, this can be a very practical and sustainable approach. I also think cucumbers help change the emotional side of eating. A lot of people over 60, especially those who live alone, eat out of boredom or habit. I've seen it in my uncle. He would sit in front of the TV with a bag of chips every evening, not because he was hungry, but because it became routine. Once we switched those chips out for a plate of cucumber sticks with a bit of hummus, it made a noticeable difference in both his weight and his energy levels. Another personal observation is how cucumbers can help reduce cravings for unhealthy snacks. Because they're crunchy and fresh, they satisfy that need for texture and mouthfeel that people often crave. I used to reach for cookies in the afternoon, but now I often snack on cucumbers with a sprinkle of chili powder or a dash of lemon juice. It's way more refreshing and doesn't leave me feeling sluggish. Let's not forget the impact of cucumbers on digestion. A lot of people don't realize that slow digestion can lead to bloating and weight gain. Cucumbers, with their high water and fiber content, help keep the digestive system moving smoothly. I've noticed that since adding them to my daily meals, I feel lighter and less bloated, which is incredibly important as you get older. In conclusion, cucumbers may not be a magic weight loss food, but in my personal experience, they've been a key part of maintaining a healthy weight after 60. They're low in calories, high in fiber, satisfying to eat, and incredibly easy to include in meals. For anyone trying to manage their weight in a realistic and healthy way, cucumbers are definitely worth adding to the plate. Cucumbers are good for heart health. As people age, heart health becomes one of the most important aspects of overall well-being. After turning 60, many individuals start paying closer attention to their cholesterol levels, blood pressure, and circulation. From what I've seen in both my own lifestyle and the experiences of family members, cucumbers can play a surprisingly effective role in supporting a healthy heart. Cucumbers are rich in several nutrients that directly benefit cardiovascular health. They are an excellent source of potassium, which helps lower blood pressure by balancing out the negative effects of sodium. They also contain magnesium, a mineral that supports heart rhythm and helps maintain healthy blood vessels. But perhaps most importantly, cucumbers are hydrating. Staying well hydrated keeps blood flowing smoothly and reduces the risk of clotting, which is vital as we age. Personally, I never used to think of cucumbers as anything more than a crunchy salad ingredient. But a few years ago, my father, then in his late 60s, was advised by his doctor to eat more potassium-rich foods to help manage his high blood pressure. We started including cucumbers in nearly every meal, sliced with a bit of vinegar, added to sandwiches, or even blended into smoothies. Within a few months, not only had his blood pressure readings improved slightly, but he also said he felt lighter and more energized. For myself, I've made a habit of drinking cucumber-infused water almost every day. I find it's a simple yet effective way to stay hydrated and add a subtle boost of heart-friendly nutrients without even realizing it. Compared to sugary drinks or sodas, it's a much better choice, especially for people over 60 who need to be cautious about their sugar and sodium intake. I've also noticed that when I regularly eat cucumbers, I feel less bloated and more balanced overall. It might not seem directly related to heart health, but reducing bloating and inflammation actually helps the entire circulatory system function better. Inflammation is a hidden factor in many heart-related issues, so any food that helps calm the body, like cucumbers, should be seen as a valuable ally. There's also a psychological component. When we hit our 60s, making healthy food choices can feel like a chore or something forced. But cucumbers are refreshing, low effort, and naturally satisfying. They make eating for heart health feel more like a pleasure than a burden. I've recommended this to several friends, and they've found that even just having a bowl of cucumber slices ready in the fridge makes it easier to stay on track. In conclusion, while cucumbers might not be a miracle cure, I truly believe they're an underrated heart-healthy food. With their water content, minerals, and natural anti-inflammatory properties, they support the cardiovascular system in subtle but meaningful ways. From personal experience and family stories, I've seen that small changes, like eating more cucumbers, can lead to lasting improvements in heart health. For anyone over 60 who wants to care for their heart naturally, cucumbers are a crisp, cool place to begin. Cucumbers can help regulate blood sugar levels. One of the biggest health challenges that many people face after turning 60 is managing their blood sugar. Type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, and sudden spikes or drops in blood sugar become more common as the body ages and metabolism changes. In my personal experience with family members, especially my aunt, who has been living with type 2 diabetes for over a decade, adding cucumbers to her daily meals has made a surprising difference in her ability to keep her blood sugar stable. Cucumbers may not sound like a powerful blood sugar regulator at first, but the unique combination of nutrients and their low glycemic index make them incredibly helpful. They're mostly made of water, are very low in carbohydrates, and contain fiber, all of which are essential for keeping blood sugar levels steady. One thing I've noticed is that after eating meals with cucumbers, I don't get the same crash or sleepiness I sometimes feel after heavier meals. For my aunt, replacing starchy side dishes like bread or rice with a cucumber salad helped lower her blood sugar spikes significantly. She would often complain about feeling lightheaded or sluggish after meals, but when she began eating cucumbers regularly, either in salads or just as a snack with some yogurt or lemon juice, she said those symptoms reduced. Her doctor even noticed slight improvements in her A1C levels over time, which really encouraged her to stick to it. From a personal standpoint, I also use cucumbers when I feel like I need to reset my system. On days when I've eaten too many sweets or feel off balance, a simple cucumber detox water or a cucumber-based salad helps me feel more in control. It's not a miracle solution, but it creates a kind of balance that's easy to maintain without needing medications or supplements. There's also a mental benefit. Many people over 60 become anxious about their health, especially when it comes to blood sugar. I've seen how even small improvements, like swapping a sugary snack for a cucumber and hummus plate, can give people a sense of empowerment. It's a reminder that they still have control over their health, even without extreme diets or expensive treatments. Some studies even suggest that cucumbers contain compounds that might help improve insulin sensitivity. While more research is still needed, I think it's fascinating how something so simple and affordable could have that kind of potential. Personally, I believe that when you're over 60, it's the small habits that really add up, and cucumbers are one of those small, daily choices that can lead to bigger health improvements over time. To sum up, cucumbers might not be the first thing that comes to mind when we think of blood sugar management, but in my family's experience and my own, they've proven to be a gentle, effective tool. They're refreshing, easy to prepare, and offer a low-carb, high-fiber alternative to many foods that contribute to blood sugar spikes. For anyone over 60 looking to naturally support their blood sugar levels, cucumbers are a delicious and smart place to start. Cucumbers may help in managing diabetes. Diabetes is a growing concern, especially for those over the age of 60. As someone with a family history of diabetes, I've always paid close attention to my diet and blood sugar levels. While there is no single food that can control diabetes on its own, I've found that cucumbers are a surprisingly helpful part of a diabetes-friendly lifestyle. Cucumbers are extremely low in carbohydrates and calories, which makes them ideal for people trying to manage their blood sugar. They also have a low glycemic index, meaning they don't cause spikes in blood sugar when consumed. That's crucial for anyone dealing with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. But beyond the scientific facts, what really convinced me of the benefits of cucumbers was my own experience, and that of those close to me. A few years ago, my older sister was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at the age of 62. She had always struggled with portion control and sugar cravings, but after her diagnosis, she became much more disciplined. One of the first dietary changes she made was adding more raw vegetables to her meals, especially cucumbers. She told me that cucumbers helped her feel full without the added sugar or carbs. Even more, she could snack on them freely without worrying about her glucose levels. It was a simple change, but it had a big impact on her mindset. I started eating more cucumbers as well, not because I had diabetes, but because I wanted to prevent it. I noticed that when I included cucumbers in my meals, especially as a side or snack, I didn't crave sweets as much. They gave me that satisfying crunch I usually got from chips or crackers, but without the guilt or glucose spike. I also felt more hydrated and refreshed, which surprisingly helped me stay more active during the day. Regular activity is important for controlling blood sugar, and cucumbers gave me the lightness I needed to keep moving. One interesting observation I made was how cucumbers helped me stay on track during hot weather. When it's hot outside, many older adults tend to lose their appetite or turn to sugary drinks. For me, cucumber-infused water or cucumber salads became a go-to option. It cooled me down and kept me full enough to avoid junk food, which indirectly helped maintain better glucose control. Of course, cucumbers alone are not a cure. They should be part of a balanced diet that includes lean protein, healthy fats, and whole grains. But their role in diabetes management should not be overlooked. In my personal journey of staying healthy and avoiding high blood sugar, cucumbers have become a regular part of my diet. They're simple, inexpensive, and surprisingly effective. In conclusion, while cucumbers may not be the first food people think of when talking about diabetes, I strongly believe they deserve more attention. Their low-carb content, high water levels, and ability to satisfy hunger make them an excellent choice for anyone, especially those over 60, who wants to manage or prevent diabetes naturally. For me and my family, cucumbers have been a small change with a big impact. Cucumbers can promote healthy digestion. As someone in my 60s, I've noticed that digestion doesn't come as easily as it used to. Foods that never bothered me before now occasionally cause bloating, discomfort, or sluggishness. That's why I've become more conscious of what I eat, especially when it comes to foods that support digestive health. One surprisingly powerful addition to my diet has been cucumbers. Cucumbers are more than just a refreshing snack, they are a great support for healthy digestion. They're made up of about 95% water, which helps to soften stools and prevent constipation. For older adults like myself, staying hydrated is already a challenge, so eating water-rich foods like cucumbers can make a noticeable difference. I first started eating cucumbers regularly when I was trying to make my meals lighter during the summer months. I noticed that when I added a cucumber salad to my lunch, I didn't feel as heavy or tired afterward. My stomach felt calmer, and I didn't get that sluggish feeling that sometimes comes from a big meal. I later learned that this lightness had a lot to do with cucumbers' fiber and water content. The skin of cucumbers contains insoluble fiber, which adds bulk to the stool and helps food move through the digestive tract more efficiently. I always try to eat them with the skin on, especially when I buy organic cucumbers. At first, I wasn't a big fan of the skin, it felt a little tough, but I got used to it quickly, especially when I diced them finely or added a bit of lemon juice or vinegar to soften the texture. Beyond the physical benefits, cucumbers have become part of a ritual that supports my digestive health. I often eat them as a mid-morning snack or add them to my dinner plate instead of bread or rice. I've noticed I don't feel as bloated, and my digestion is more regular. When I skip them for a few days, I actually feel the difference. My stomach feels more unsettled, and I sometimes experience mild constipation. One unexpected benefit I discovered is how cucumbers help me slow down while eating. Their crunch and freshness encourage me to chew more thoroughly, which is essential for digestion. In the past, I used to rush through meals, especially when eating alone. But now, slicing and enjoying cucumbers has become a small but mindful practice. Chewing more means my stomach doesn't have to work as hard, which reduces digestive strain. Of course, cucumbers aren't a miracle food. They work best as part of a well-rounded diet that includes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and probiotics. But for me, they've been an easy and enjoyable way to support my digestive system without needing supplements or harsh fiber products. In conclusion, cucumbers have earned a regular spot in my fridge because of how much they help with digestion. They're gentle, natural, and versatile. Whether eaten raw, in salads, or infused in water, they offer a refreshing and effective way to maintain digestive health, especially for people over 60 who want to feel lighter, healthier, and more comfortable after eating. Cucumbers can help regulate blood sugar. As someone over 60, managing blood sugar has become an important part of my daily life. I'm not diabetic, but with age, I've become more aware of how my blood sugar levels respond to certain foods. One simple and effective food that I've added to my diet is the humble cucumber. At first, I never thought a basic vegetable like this could make any real difference, but over time, I've been pleasantly surprised. Cucumbers are naturally low in carbohydrates and sugars, making them an ideal food for anyone watching their blood glucose. Unlike starchy vegetables or sugary fruits, cucumbers don't cause sudden spikes in blood sugar. I remember reading that they have a low glycemic index, which means they release sugar slowly into the bloodstream. This was exactly what I needed, something I could snack on without worrying about sugar levels jumping unexpectedly. At first, I started eating cucumbers simply because they were light and refreshing, especially during hot days. I would slice them into thin rounds, sprinkle a little salt or vinegar, and enjoy them mid-afternoon. I quickly realized that unlike other snacks like crackers or even bananas, cucumbers didn't make me feel sleepy or shaky afterward. That stable energy level was a clear signal to me that my blood sugar wasn't fluctuating wildly. Over time, I became more intentional. I began replacing my typical evening crackers with a bowl of cucumber slices. Not only did I feel better, but I also noticed that I didn't wake up feeling groggy or hungry in the middle of the night. I later learned that this might be due to how cucumbers help regulate insulin and improve metabolic function, something especially important for aging bodies. One of the most helpful things about cucumbers is how easy they are to incorporate into any meal. I often add them to salads, mix them with yogurt for a quick raita, or even blend them into smoothies with a bit of mint and lemon. They offer a crisp, hydrating crunch without any of the worry that comes with processed snacks. In my experience, when I consistently include cucumbers in my meals, I feel more balanced. I've never taken medication for blood sugar, but I do check it from time to time, and my readings tend to be more stable during weeks when I eat cucumbers regularly. It's not a miracle fix, but it's a helpful piece of the puzzle, especially when combined with exercise and a generally healthy diet. Of course, cucumbers alone won't cure high blood sugar or replace medical treatment. But for me, they've become a safe, simple, and enjoyable way to support my health. I believe that small changes add up, and eating more foods like cucumbers is one of the gentlest ways to steer your health in the right direction. In conclusion, cucumbers are more than just a crunchy side dish, they're a smart choice for blood sugar management. As I continue to age, I'm grateful to have found a food that supports my health naturally, without needing to give up flavor or enjoyment. Cucumbers can promote detoxification. At the age of over 60, I've become more conscious of how my body processes what I eat and how it eliminates toxins. Over the years, I've learned that supporting the body's natural detoxification process doesn't always require expensive supplements or extreme cleanses. Sometimes, all it takes is including the right natural foods, like cucumbers. Cucumbers have become a daily staple in my diet, mainly because of the detoxifying properties. They're made up of about 95% water, which makes them incredibly hydrating. Staying well hydrated is one of the simplest and most effective ways to help the kidneys flush out waste. I used to think drinking plain water was enough, but once I started adding cucumbers to my meals, and even to my water, I noticed a big difference in how refreshed I felt. What really impressed me was how cucumbers seem to work as a gentle cleanser for the digestive system. When I eat cucumbers regularly, especially raw ones, I find that my digestion improves, and I don't feel as bloated as I used to. I learned that cucumbers contain compounds like cucurbitacin and antioxidants, which support liver function and help the body get rid of accumulated toxins. A few years ago, I went through a phase where I constantly felt sluggish and tired, even though I was getting enough sleep. A friend of mine suggested a natural detox approach, just clean eating, no sugar, no processed food, and lots of cucumbers, lemon, and leafy greens. I gave it a try for a week. By the third day, I felt lighter, not in terms of weight, but in terms of clarity and energy. That experience convinced me that cucumbers actually do help cleanse the body in a subtle, yet effective way. Another thing I appreciate is how easy cucumbers are to incorporate into a detox-friendly diet. I often make cucumber-infused water with lemon and mint. It's refreshing and encourages me to drink more water throughout the day. Sometimes I make cucumber and celery juice in the morning, which I believe gives my system a gentle reset after sleep. And during meals, I add cucumber slices to my salad or eat them plain as a crunchy side. Some people may expect detoxification to come with dramatic results, but in my experience, it's more about small, consistent changes. Cucumbers might not sweep the body clean overnight, but they certainly help support the organs that do the real work, like the liver, kidneys, and digestive system. Of course, detoxification is a complex process that involves more than just one food. But I truly believe that cucumbers make a great foundation for anyone looking to reduce toxin buildup in a natural, sustainable way, especially as we age and our metabolism slows down. In conclusion, cucumbers are more than a light snack, they're a powerful tool for gentle detox. As someone in my 60s, I've come to trust foods that work with the body, not against it. Cucumbers may be simple, but they quietly help keep the body balanced, clean, and energized, and that's something I've learned to deeply appreciate. Cucumbers help maintain healthy skin. As I've gotten older, I've become increasingly aware of how important it is to take care of my skin. Aging naturally brings changes to the skin, wrinkles, dryness, and sometimes a loss of elasticity. I used to rely on expensive creams and treatments to keep my skin looking youthful, but over the years, I've discovered that nature provides some of the best solutions. One of the simplest and most effective skincare ingredients I've added to my routine is cucumbers. Cucumbers have always been a go-to food for hydration, but I've learned that they're also a powerful ally in maintaining healthy, glowing skin. What really caught my attention was how cucumbers help with skin hydration. As we age, our skin tends to lose moisture more quickly, which contributes to dryness and fine lines. Cucumbers, being composed of about 96% water, are an excellent way to naturally hydrate the skin from the inside out. I've noticed that when I include cucumbers in my meals regularly, my skin feels softer and less prone to dryness. In addition to hydration, cucumbers contain antioxidants and silica, both of which are essential for maintaining skin health. Silica, a mineral found in cucumbers, helps boost collagen production, which is crucial for skin elasticity and strength. As we age, collagen production decreases, leading to sagging and wrinkles. By eating cucumbers, I've been able to naturally support my body's collagen production and keep my skin firm and youthful looking. I've also noticed that my skin feels smoother and more even-toned. Another benefit I love is the cooling and anti-inflammatory properties of cucumbers. I've often used chilled cucumber slices to soothe puffiness around my eyes, and it works wonders. The natural compounds in cucumbers help reduce inflammation, making them an ideal remedy for skin irritations or redness. There was a time when I struggled with occasional breakouts and redness, and incorporating cucumber-based skincare, like cucumber toners or homemade cucumber face masks, helped calm my skin and reduce the appearance of blemishes. For me, cucumbers aren't just something I eat, they've also become a part of my skincare routine. I've made it a habit to apply fresh cucumber juice or cucumber slices to my face as a natural mask. This has become my go-to solution for a refreshing, moisturizing face treatment. The coolness of cucumbers combined with their hydrating properties gives my skin a boost, especially after a long day or when I'm feeling particularly tired. It's a great way to revive dull skin and add some natural glow. I've also started incorporating cucumbers into my evening routine. I drink cucumber-infused water before bed, and I believe it helps keep my skin hydrated throughout the night. Since starting this habit, I've noticed that my skin feels less tight and dry when I wake up, and my complexion looks much brighter and more refreshed. While I'm sure that no single food will completely transform skin on its own, I firmly believe that cucumbers are an easy and effective way to support skin health as we age. They're hydrating, nourishing, and incredibly gentle, making them perfect for sensitive skin. Plus, they're affordable and easy to incorporate into any diet or skincare routine. In conclusion, cucumbers have been a game changer for me in terms of skin health. They provide deep hydration, support collagen production, and reduce inflammation, all important factors in keeping our skin looking and feeling its best. Whether eaten or applied topically, cucumbers are one of the simplest and most natural ways to maintain healthy, youthful skin. As I continue to age, I'm grateful for how cucumbers have helped me maintain my skin's radiance and vitality. I would highly recommend giving them a try if you want to support your skin from the inside out.